Welcome to How to Tell Someone. I'm your host, Tonya Pieske. Before we get started, I encourage you to check the show notes. That's where you'll find content warnings. Guests on How to Tell Someone are telling vulnerable personal stories that sometimes contain themes that may be difficult for some listeners, so please take care while listening. This story comes from LINDSEY.
It's funny. I feel like kind of the thing that defined my childhood and like pretty much my whole life leading up to my dad dying was playing soccer. Like, me and my sister started playing soccer as soon as we could walk, basically. And he was our coach. He played soccer in college, and it was his whole thing. I quit soccer a couple months before he got sick, and that was like kind of a really weird, it was such a weird point in our relationship because it was like my first kind of grown-up decision to stop playing soccer, because up until that point we were all, I mean, as it was so much a part of our family, but I was into Nirvana and starting to smoke cigarettes, and I didn't want to play soccer at school anymore. So I quit playing. It was hard because it felt like the biggest choice I was making was like letting my dad down. But I mean, I was 13, so it was like, of course I was like exploring rebellion or whatever. Growing up in Asheville was really interesting. It's such a unique place to grow up. You have a really vibrant community. It's got a lot of culture, and it's a very DIY kind of city, which is a reason that people compare it to Portland a lot. It's a very scrappy city. It's a place where, especially at the time when I was a kid in the 90s and early 2000s, it was really a magical place where an artist could be an artist and make a living and live a relatively, I mean, I don't know about comfortable, but definitely an artist's life. My mom actually moved there to go to school in Black Mountain, which has a huge kind of history of fine art, which is so weird in a place like the mountains of North Carolina. It's kind of a very romanticized view of her now, but especially when I was much younger, her whole thing was being a painter. She actually ended up not finishing school because she was assaulted by her professor. She literally was like a senior about to graduate and was assaulted by her advisor and left. She definitely gave me a very artistic childhood. I thought I wanted to be an artist from a very young age. I'm pretty sure it's just because I was obsessed with my mom and I knew she was an artist, and that was like the coolest thing I could imagine. Some of my earliest childhood memories are of like opening her like vintage hat box full of oil paints and like the smell of the paints and the turpentine, and just like the way the paint tubes looked, like everything about it was romantic to me and just had like, whimsy, and I was attracted to art as a concept immediately. It was really cool. Like, I didn't realize how special it was until I was way older. And that's why so much of my relationship with my mom now really hurts, because she was my fucking hero. We had a very like physically close relationship. I was a very, very timid and socially anxious, undiagnosed autistic kid. And I pretty much spent the first 5 years of my life like hiding behind my mom's legs, you know, that very quintessential terrified kid. And my mom was definitely my safe space. I still think probably the most comforting thing in the world is like my mom like rubbing my hair, like petting my head. Yeah, we were really close. She was just so creative. Like everything she did made life more beautiful at that time. In my very, very early childhood, she was in her like first phase of being an alcoholic. And so up until I was about 5, she was drinking heavily. And she was kind of like a party girl lifestyle. Like both of my parents were partiers. Basically, she got a DUI. So she quit drinking when I was like 5. So the very early childhood is like, there's a lot of like tumultuous environmental stuff because she was a very angry, loud drunk sometimes. It's kind of weird. There's like a phase of my life that was very tumultuous, and then a phase that was like basically a perfect childhood for like 9 or 10 years. And then my dad died, and that was pretty much the end of any normal anything. My mom being uncomfortable around men because of her lived experience. I think before she taught me anything, she taught me not to trust men. I could just pick up, as the emotional sponge that I am, that she was uncomfortable around her own dad. It was very subtle, honestly, but it definitely felt like I felt the message like women are safe and men are not. And that definitely complicated my relationship with my dad. He didn't do anything to complicate it. It made me confused, you know? I also just struggled to connect with him, I think. As I was growing up and getting older, it felt like harder to bridge that gap. Especially looking back and knowing that I was autistic and not diagnosed with autism. I see now so much of my problem was just like not knowing how to communicate, how to like approach communication. And of course now, I mean, I never got to have a conversation with him past the age of 14. So he was an incredible dad. It's not like I ever had the maturity to foster a relationship. Yeah, it was just weird. I feel like I started to recognize that our relationship was changing and like we would have to figure it out, but then we just never got the chance, you know? At the time, it definitely felt like they had ups and downs, but like it felt like they were solid. It definitely felt like they were a great partnership. They were very loving to each other. They demonstrated love to each other. It was a really positive relationship that was modeled for me during the time that it was really positive. When my mom was drinking, she was kind of like violent and scary. She would like kick him out. And one of the times when like my dad left and my sister went with him, and it felt like this time where we were like choosing sides, and it felt so awful, but it felt like to me like my dad understood that I needed to take care of my mom. Like he knew that she needed me. So once I started to kind of rebel, I ended up relating more with my dad than with my mom. I remember one huge, like, point of contention with my mom was, like, the music that I listened to. My brother bought me a TLC album and Outkast and Eminem. She clocked Eminem pretty correctly. He was a mistake in my musical taste, but I get you don't want your 12-year-old listening to Crazy Sexy Cool, but, like, come on, man. And I remember my dad kind of being more like, yeah, like, be rock and roll, whatever, like, you don't have to conform as much. And she was coming from a place of, like, wanting me to fit in for my own benefit, you know, like, it's safer for you to be normal, you know, like, that kind of thing. You'll be accepted if you're normal. So once I started to kind of rebel more, I feel like he was more my support system. We found out he had cancer in May of 2002, and I was going into high school. It's kind of fuzzy, you know, it's the kind of thing that I don't look back at very often. The first thing that I remember about, like, the cancer, you know, is, I remember the first time we, like, went to the doctor. It was like a running kind of bit in our family that my dad was never sick, and he had been getting sick. He had heartburn really bad, but, like, he was just kind of a beer and pizza dude. So he was like, I have heartburn, whatever. And also was a working class, non-insured father of 3. But basically he started having, like, much worse stomach problems and like not being able to keep food down. And that was when we were like, okay, you have to go get this checked out. I think I even said to my mom when we were waiting, because he just started getting sick, maybe it's good we caught it early. And they were basically like, oh no, opposite. It's gotten so bad that there's, like, almost nothing we can do. It's stage 3. And so he had a tumor. He had esophageal cancer, and it was, if I remember correctly, they thought it was basically brought on by the chronic heartburn, which later, like 5 years later, they had a prescription that basically stopped that from happening. There was, like, an over-the-counter pill you could take to make sure your acid reflux didn't turn into cancer. But before that, it just did. The initial prognosis was that he had a tumor, but it hadn't spread. So they were going to give him chemo and radiation, and then they were going to operate. And it was very optimistic. Things looked, there was hope, you know, they were very focused on, like, what was going to happen to make sure he didn't die. But at that point, I think we, like, kind of knew that's what was going to happen. Like, it had, like, you know, at that point it wasn't a surprise. It was more like, at that point it felt like it was not good news, but, like, it was good to know and good to have a plan. So, like, we found out what was wrong, we were going to fix it. And the way that I responded really, really highlighted how much I was still a child and just didn't understand the gravity of the situation. You know, I knew cancer was bad, but I also knew it didn't kill everyone that got cancer. My mom's father had passed away from cancer when I was in, like, 5th grade. So I had some point of reference, but it was definitely presented like, this is not no big deal, but like, this is gonna be fine, you know? And in a way, like, after that, things became kind of mundane quickly. Like, he started going to treatment, like, things seemed normal. I think my mom, she was very calm, cool, and collected. Almost like administrative about the like healthcare stuff. Like, she had a nursing background, so she was just like in charge. It was very much like, we're gonna do this together, we're gonna get through this together, we're gonna talk about it as a family, we're gonna face it as a family. I mean, I think she was scared, and now looking back, like, I can't even imagine going through what she went through. The real bottom falling out moment, I was in the car with my mom driving to pick my sister up, and we were talking about the medical treatment, and it just came up in the conversation, the word terminal. That was the first time. Basically, my mom had to pull the car over and say, "Honey, do you know what terminal means?" Then she had to explain to me what terminal means, and that's what we were dealing with. This isn't actually going to get better. The way she said it made it feel like I was the last one to understand that, because I just didn't know what this word meant, almost. I didn't understand he was dying because I didn't know what the word terminal meant, you know? Like, it was so weird. It was like the weirdest hang up to feel like you missed something, and that thing is like, you're gonna lose the person that means everything to you. Also kind of like, catch up. You're like, why do I have to explain this to you? She definitely didn't present it that way. She was 100% like, I could tell it was breaking her heart to have to explain it to me when she thought I just understood already. You know what I mean? That was very much the tone of the conversation, was like, oh my God, my daughter doesn't understand that her dad is dying. And literally she pulled over the car and was like, your dad's gonna die. And those weren't the exact words, but that's what she told me. It was literally like the world was ripped out from under me, and I feel like I've been falling ever since. It's so weird because I was such an existential kid. I thought about my own mortality so much. I was weirdly so afraid of dying. Like, the concept of dying just scared me so much. If you had asked me if my parents would ever die, I probably would have said, what are you talking about? Like, you know, it was definitely like that kind of naivety and innocence. I don't know. After it happened, I would believe anything. Part of what happened with the actual like medical care was that the tumor that they said they were going to remove, they actually just broke it up with the radiation, and then they weren't able to remove it. And so things like progressed quickly after that. So it went from like, we're gonna figure this out and save him, to like, things are going bad fast. He was at home for definitely up until he was like literally dying. He definitely wanted to stay at home. Part of what made it better for him to be at home was that he could smoke weed instead of having morphine. For a lot of obvious reasons, he really preferred weed, but also like he was always a pothead and had quit smoking weed to be a dad, and now he got to smoke weed again, which was fun. But we actually smoked weed together before he passed away. I mean, it was heartbreaking. He was dying. His best friend, he got like the best weed he could find and brought it over, and it was like 10 times stronger than the strongest weed my dad had ever smoked in his life. And that was when he was still lucid and still there. And my brother smoked weed and I smoked weed, and I mean, we were pretty young, but whatever. We got to pass a pipe with our dad before he passed away. It was really lovely. I actually really feel connected to him through weed, which is kind of silly, but I feel very connected to him in both our personalities and our love of weed. Because his cancer was in his esophagus and caused by acid reflux, it was so intrinsically linked to his eating. He basically wasted away very quickly. It was hard. I think that's definitely the thing that made it the realest, the quickest, you know? And then they gave him a feeding tube. And like I said, he had been so healthy and vibrant throughout my whole life. Like, literally didn't get sick. So it was incredibly difficult to see him deteriorating. It's still hard. I feel like that was one of the things that people told me, especially as he got worse. They were like, people would try and give me advice about like whether or not to see him before and or after he passed away. They would say like, you don't want to see him like that. And they weren't wrong. And it took a long time for that not to be like the first picture of him. But I don't regret being there, especially now knowing how little time there was. He definitely had moments of being like lucid, but at the very end he was pretty much on painkillers like 24/7 just because he was in a lot of pain. One of the last things he told me was about how he had a really vivid dream that he was a red t-shirt in a washing machine. I don't know why I remember that so vividly. I think the like communication piece is the thing I would change the most if I could. I definitely didn't understand that my dad was dying and I didn't know how to talk to him about it. I didn't know how to be like, tell me stuff that you're gonna want to tell me before you tell, you know, like, I don't know how to facilitate a conversation under any circumstances. Still don't. Might never. I almost feel like a superstitious feeling about the night he died. He had just moved into hospice, and a bunch of our family, a couple of his brothers and family friends came to move him in and just get him set up and everything. It was late in the evening, September 23rd. There was a chill in the air. I remember my brother and sister wanted to go home. It was a school night, it was just another day. And first, I just had a feeling that I needed to stay. I just had a feeling that I needed to be there. And so I was going to spend the night in his room while the rest of my family went home. My mom was getting ready to leave, and I just remember, we were gathered around his bed, but, saying goodbye for the night. You could just, his breathing had slowed down a lot, and it was the raspy lung thing. I don't even remember if someone said, he's not going to make it through the night or what, but it was a 30-minute drive from the hospice to my house, and my brother and sister didn't even get home before my dad had passed. I was right next to him. My mom was right next to me. I definitely have questioned a lot if that was a good idea for me to be there, because it was a really traumatizing thing to see. It wasn't anything. I mean, he literally just slipped away. There wasn't anything gruesome or violent or anything. But it's just such a visceral experience as a human being, and I was a child. There was something telling me I needed to be there, and I listened to it, and I was there for the most important thing that's ever happened to me. Even though it was something horrible that happened to me, I was there for it, I'm really glad I was there. I almost don't know if I would even have the same amount of closure if I wasn't there, It almost feels more real because I saw it happen. I definitely didn't feel alone, except for the fact that my brother and sister weren't there. It felt bad that I was the only one of us that was there. I think my first kind of reaction, other than just the loss of it, was I almost felt bad that my brother and sister weren't there. Something would shift, that I was there for this really traumatic thing and they weren't. It immediately felt like I was having a different experience than they were. But that's also from the brain of a child, I was also I need to go post about it on MySpace. I was a child. I was I need to call my friends and tell them. What a fucking weird thing just to think after your dad died, I think it is probably totally normal to call your support system when something bad happens to you. Yeah, but it's actually, that's so much of a lot of the reflecting I did in the middle years of the way I acted around my dad's death. I felt a lot of shame immediately. One of the things that I felt shame about was going back to school pretty soon. I went back to school probably a week later, and people were you should be out for longer, or maybe it was just a couple days, but it was I wanted to be out of my house. I think all of us kind of went on our own kind of dealing with pain journey. In the same way I was kind of going off in my own world, like a lot of the people around me were extremely religious, and I was already not indoctrinated to be religious. And so when my extremely devout father died, it definitely felt like a slap in the face from a God that might exist, and like basically confirmed that to me that God didn't exist. I was like, that's why would my dad be dead if God was real? So that was another big disconnect that I had with a lot of the people around me. People, especially in the South, find so much comfort in the idea of the afterlife, and that someone's going to a better place, and that's what someone needs to hear when they lose someone. And it made me mad. My dad like ramped up his religious activities as he got closer to dying. He got back very involved with his church and like started going to mass again, and I think for him it was kind of connecting with his mom, but also just like dealing with the grief of dying. I really felt alienated from anyone who tried to tell me that he was in a better place. I was just in a completely different world than my peers. The friends I had from my childhood up until that point, I had kind of a classic like neighborhood upbringing, so we just had a lot of friends that were literally in my neighborhood, and the same kids I went to all, elementary, middle, and high school with. Some of them had known my dad. Some of my friends had known my dad for years, and suddenly they didn't really want to be around because it's weird and awkward and sad, and everyone else is just like, oh, that's the girl whose dad just died. I kind of did my high school rebellion, a lot of drinking and drugs too, just kind of testing the boundaries, which just didn't exist anymore. Basically, me and Paige were like, cool, so we're adults now, and we're just like never going to be home. We're going to be with our friends all the time. My brother was an adult, so he did the same. Definitely for like the immediate years afterwards, obviously I was still in high school. The problem was my dad was ripped away, and in many ways my mom was also ripped away because she fell into addiction and really was struggling with her mental health, and kind of in the first couple of years after his passing, I feel like we kind of like fumbled along in a solid way. Like my relationship with my mom and my sister stayed pretty strong, despite me and my sister both kind of losing respect for our mom in the background because of the way we saw her behaving in her new relationship just didn't match the version of herself that we had grown up with. But of course her world had been shattered and she wasn't herself. So like, I think we were pretty judgmental in a way that she didn't deserve, but what can you do? As I get older and as I get closer to the age that she was at the time and think about like the idea of losing my partner, it breaks my heart that my mom has basically let her life kind of slip away because she can't be with my dad. It's hard to see, and because of my relationship with her and because of just my personality in general, it almost immediately shifted to where I was taking care of her. And once I graduated, my sister graduated a year later, and she moved out immediately. And I was just more of a late bloomer and didn't end up moving out for about 5 more years. And that was the time when we really had a very difficult time being a mother and a daughter, because she was drinking heavily, and the way she dealt with grief was kind of trauma dumping on me, and I let her because I thought that that's what she needed, that I thought that was taking care of her. And it was a really, really rough time in my life, because I just like shrunk myself down to nothing in order to do what I thought was right, which was taking care of my mom. But I was 20 years old, so it's so wild. She actually mentioned it for the first time. We had a conversation recently. I kind of was like upfront with a boundary about talking to her when she's drinking, in a way that like I have kind of built up these boundaries without really talking to her about them. Like I have certain times of the day that I don't answer her calls because I know she's drunk and I just don't want to talk to her. It's very triggering. And like I usually don't like broadcast that to her because she's very defensive, but she actually acknowledged like, basically, I know it's hard for you to talk to me when I'm drunk, and then sometimes the next day I don't even remember what we talked about. And I was like, yeah, that's happened a lot. And she even said something like, I know those years after Paige moved out, we like had a really hard time, and you were there for me when I should have been there for you. It seems sometimes she has a little bit of a like tell me I am okay, like tell me I did okay kind of vibe. It's like if the goal of the conversation is for me to reassure you, then I don't think we've actually learned anything. But we're getting there. You know, it's been over 20 years since my dad died, which is fucking crazy. But there was a long time when I thought she was just gonna like drink her life away for the rest of her life. But I think she's definitely starting to come around. She's been doing more work than ever in more recent years, and that's like the most encouragement I have. I don't know. I feel like part of it is him in me being like, I love her so much. She has so much in her that's beautiful and like worth treasuring. But like, she has so much work to do, and she's been not doing it for a really long time. And I wish I could make her understand that like the work is what will make your life better. It's interesting how much more I think about my mom's perspective now that I'm getting close to her age at the time. A lot of the things that I've noticed myself growing around in my relationship, like insecurity and jealousy, things that were a big part of my personality, but we've like grown up together and spent that time helping each other mature and growing through our own insecurities and dealing with our own problems through our relationship. And my mom basically got to be with a person who helped her grow and gave her strength and made her feel safe. And that was going to be the partnership that lended itself to making her a better person. It was doing that, you know? They were so good for each other. I don't think I realized until way later that part of what I like about Gary is that he reminds me of my dad in being such a warm, generous spirit, you know, someone who's kind in a sincere way to literally everyone, you know, and also like a goofball that doesn't take themselves too seriously. Like, so much of what I remember about my dad is just like how much joy he had and how he was like overflowing with like effervescence, and like he had a twinkle in his eye. He lit up the room. He was just a great fucking guy. We're kind of at the point now where it's the same point it feels like my parents were at like during the best years of my childhood, when my parents felt like such a strong unit and they were so loving towards each other. That's like how my relationship feels now. And so it was kind of the first time where I was like, oh, I'm like living the life that was modeled for me. I never thought I was a person that was going to get married. A relationship was not an interest to me in any way. Even as a kid, I didn't dream of getting married. I dreamed of being an artist. So like to find myself in a house of a love that like feels like home again has really made me reflect on like those really happy times more often. It's kind of solidifying how much I'm scared of losing my partner. Like it's changed a bit from being scared of either myself dying or my mom dying. Like that was kind of the first next fear after losing my dad, was like, okay, my mom could die or I could die. Dying young, just the concept of dying so young is so scary to me. But now I think about losing my partner and how that could ruin your life if you let it. I definitely think from the lessons I learned from my dad dying, I wouldn't do that. I think the one guiding principle that I really take from him dying is just how fucking short life is and how little of a chance we get. And so I don't take much for granted. I really want people that I love to know that I love them, and it's completely shaped who I am. It's shaped my principles. It's shaped like my approach to life. I feel like even something like getting into tattooing, I probably would have been so much more timid and scared and like just unsure if I didn't have this driving force behind me that was like, this is our one chance. You might get 40 years, you might get 20 years. Like, you need to live your life. And it's kind of ironic that he was such a devout Catholic that like my life lesson is basically nihilism. But I feel like that has served me really well in my life, honestly. Like, it's been a guiding principle that has led to, I think, a pretty fucking good life.
At this point, I just want to open up the floor for anything that you felt like or that you expected to say and didn't get to, and it doesn't matter, we can bounce all over the place. I just want to like give you an opportunity to say what you wanted to say that maybe you didn't get to.
It feels weird to be thinking about my childhood as like an individual experience, but at the same time, even our dad dying was such a different experience for each of us. It's hard to think about like this thing just smashed open our lives. It feels weird to talk about everything by myself. I mean, me and my sister were basically attached at the hip. Although I was like, my childhood experience was so different from hers because she's an outgoing blonde cutie pie that, I mean, we're basically we just have opposite personalities, but she was we were kind of each other's protectors too. So my brother's 4 years older than me, and like we were close and we still are close, but like definitely it was kind of like me and my sister were a unit and he was the other one. I was the middle child, and my brother and sister were like quintessential did not get along. So I was kind of the pacifier and also always had to sit in the middle seat. But he was a great kid, but had he was like a typical 90s kind of skate kid. Like I think my dad was like a little bit harder on him because he had really high expectations in probably a gendered way, you know, like you're my oldest son. But he was definitely he was a really good older brother. Like at the end of the day, he would do anything to protect me for sure. And also my little sister, even though he doesn't like her. Like he's got a great heart, you know. I think there have been kind of phases where they got along more and times when they didn't. When my brother was the one that bought us alcohol, their relationship was pretty good. They've definitely, they just don't really get each other, I think. And I understand why, but it's definitely, that's one of the things that I really hope will change as I get older and as we all get older. I would love for them to be better friends, but everyone's on their own timeline, and also we're all in very different places, like literally in the country. So we'll see what happens. Also, I wrote down, why do gravity and grave have the same root? Why do gravity and grave have the same root? Do we know?
Well, both of them get you closer and closer to the ground.
Beautiful.
You're welcome.
Lindsay is my best friend, and we have a level of emotional intimacy that I find to be rare in friendships. And although I've heard pieces of this story, this was truly the first time Lindsay shared the full story of her dad's death with me. It's a grief that she's held to herself tightly throughout her life. The rawness of it has prevented her from talking much about her dad at all, even with those closest to her. Recently, Lindsay was tattooing at a pop-up, and her first walk-in client chose a design that represents ancestor support. Lindsay said she's been really emotionally connecting with her clients immediately these days, and they got into a heart-to-heart right away. Her client told her that her father had just passed away the prior week from esophageal cancer, the same type of cancer that Lindsay's dad had. It's worth noting that esophageal cancer is very rare. It makes up only 1% of the cancers diagnosed in the United States. Lindsay said it felt like the universe brought them together. They talked about their dads and shared their favorite memories. Lindsay talked about how much she loved playing soccer with her sister on her dad's team, and realized that by not allowing herself to talk about her dad for so long, she also never talked about this huge part of her childhood that meant so much to her and her family. Lindsay may be returning to Asheville soon. She said she's excited to go home and find people to tell her more about her dad. You can see Lindsay's tattoo work and booking info by following her on Instagram at Lindsey Dreadfuls. That's LINDSEY Dreadfuls. You can find a link to her profile in the show notes. Substack is really where this project lives, so please join us there. You'll find bonus clips, companion pieces, and updates about the show and our guests. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen. Just like each of us, this show grows gently and through connection, so please help us spread the word. Share an episode or two with your softest friends and your hardest enemies. Until next time.